here's a simple way to understand this. If you look at the total deaths for the last 3 years, this year they're 2% less than the last 3 years. So if there is a pandemic, where is the increase in deaths? Forget about the word with, because everything is with COVID. In other words, you have cancer with COVID, or you have lung disease with COVID.
Yeah.
Look, this is not scientific. If we look at total deaths and compare this year to the last 3 years, we're down by 2%. So where's all the deaths? There's only one answer to this. This was all orchestrated. The smoke screen is virus. Now, why use a virus? Because viruses like the polio virus, the HIV virus, the Ebola virus, the SARS virus, which is the COVID-19, they have never been cultured, they've never been purified, and they've never been identified by using the scientific method, the gold standard, which is cautious postulate. So why not use the virus theory, okay, as the smokescreen to orchestrate a pandemic of epidemic proportions associated with a non-existent that nobody can prove, that they've already indoctrinated at the collegiate level, at the graduate level, that there's this so-called virus. For example, when I did my paper on polio, there was no polio virus. The cause of polio was caused by a chemical poisoning of DDT. When it came out last year as a test, it was a test, 2 years, actually 3 years ago. It was a test to test this smoke screen of virus, which I believe is a religion, because it's not based on the scientific method. Zika was associated with a chemical poisoning, and birth defects and encephalitis was due to the poison glyphosate. So in each virus, there is a poison. If we go back to the meaning of the word virus in Latin, it means poison. So what is happening is the human race is being systemically poisoned, which is throwing them into a pathological coagulation of the blood, causing oxygen deprivation. Because if you understand the biology here, red blood cells, which contain hemoglobin, which holds on to the carbon dioxide or the oxygen, has to go into the pulmonary system, into the capillaries of the pulmonary system, to the alveoli, which are sacs in the lung that hold oxygen, to drop off their oxygen or drop off their carbon dioxide and collect their oxygen. They have to do that single file. So if science, which I believe they know, I know this, and I've known it for 40 years, that you can induce pathological coagulation, which then leads to oxygen deprivation, which then leads to respiratory interstitial fluid disease, which then leads to the death of the cell. And what they're measuring, what is being measured, are cellular fragments of RNA or DNA, and then they're associating that as aha. And they're associating exosomes, which are released by the cell as a protection to stop the breakdown of the endothelium, which is a single cell membrane to protect the arteries from breaking, and you die from internal bleeding. So what happens is a cascade of clotting factors are released, causing pathological blood coagulation to prevent internal bleeding. But then the blood can't go into the lungs to drop its carbon dioxide, so you die from carbon dioxide poisoning. This is the main cause. There's no virus here. It's carbon dioxide poisoning.